Hello and welcome to the Ottawa Herald's 2012 General Election Candidate Interviews. I'm Crystal Herber with the Herald, here with Stephen Hunting, Franklin County Attorney. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, let's get started. Why do you think you were elected to serve after your predecessor left?
Well, I met with the local Republican Party committee and talked with several of them. And for one, there were no other folks that expressed any interest in the job. So I was on a very short list. And in addition to that, I think I demonstrated to them when visiting with them, going through all their questions, answering all of their concerns, that I have a tremendous amount of experience when it comes to prosecution. I've served Franklin County prior to this as an assistant, as a deputy county attorney from 2004 until 2009. I left here and was briefly with the Attorney General's office and then with the Shawnee County District Attorney's office as an assistant and then senior assistant district attorney. And in all of those places held a wide range of responsibilities and job duties as a prosecutor. And so when I met with them, I think I was able to demonstrate and show that have a lot of different experience on a lot of different levels of what it means to be a prosecutor. Just about every type of case there is, I've done something with that kind of a case. Also had experience in supervising a significant amount of attorneys as well as staff. For a period of time when I was in Shawnee County, I supervised the family law division, and that division was about the size, maybe a little bit bigger than what our current office is, and had a track record there of being able to lead people effectively, make good decisions, and turn some things around that needed turned around there. And know my way around the courtroom. Tried a lot of different types of cases, comfortable in the courtroom, and hopefully they saw what I believe, which is I can make good decisions, have a good even keel, good temperament, and try to do the best I can to make sound professional judgments that are the right decision. I always want to make the right decision for the right reason, and I keep stressing that with our staff. And I believe that's what the committee saw. That's what I tried to communicate to them and demonstrate to them. And I believe that's why earlier this year they did vote almost unanimously to have me serve out the remainder of this term as their county attorney.
And why did you choose now and turn to run for election?
Got down here and care about this place and care about the office. And that office is a place where I started out my career. I started out as an assistant there right out of law school. I had served in several prosecutor offices as an intern during law school, so I knew I wanted to be a prosecutor, and this is where I got my start. And while I was here, I was able to form some good relationships and some good partnerships with people, and really cared about the office and the work that it does. I was in a spot up in Topeka where I was ready for another challenge. And when I came down here and took over the interim, it was with the idea in mind that I would run for elected office this fall. And the big reason is wanted the challenge, wanted to take that next step. Believe I have something to offer to this community. Believe I have leadership skills that are needed in that office right now, and believe that we can take that office to the next level. And I think I'm the right person to do that. I want to see that office become one that is known for being the most professional office that we have in Franklin County when it comes to law offices and attorneys. In addition, I want us to be known as an office that strives for excellence in everything we do, whether it's prosecuting a case in the courtroom, whether it's case management, working with law enforcement, working with community partners or individuals in the criminal justice system. We want to be known for an office that is one of high standards and consistently demonstrates a level of professionalism and excellence that the community deserves and that the community can be proud of. Because our most important goal is to seek justice in every case. We're required to do that. And we want to see Franklin County be a safer place to live and a safer community for everyone involved. And so when I was deciding what to do, I thought, let's go for it. I think I'm the best person for the job. I think I bring the requisite skill set and the needed amount of patience to make it happen. And hopefully the voters will agree.
Okay. And how have your first few months in office been?
Been busy. Been very busy. The caseload was already there waiting. We're handling a lot of cases, working through a lot of things. We've had some big cases that we've had going on, been working on those and handling those. And in addition, there's just a lot of work on a consistent daily basis that has to get done. And on top of that, the staff, they weren't expecting a new attorney to take over. They weren't expecting any of this to happen. So we've been dealing with that transition. There's been a lot of changes that have taken place, some big, some small, but it's an adjustment for everybody. And the culture of the office is changing in that regard, so they're making adjustments, getting used to that. And what it's created is a lot of work for us. Not bad work, but just a lot of work. And as you know, we don't get to control what comes through the door. Any given day I walk in, it could be something new. Been plenty of nights when we get calls in the early wee hours of the morning, which is fine. It's part of the deal. And you deal with it. You drop what you're doing and you deal with it. You handle crises that come, handle the cases that come through the door. And we've done a lot in regards of setting up some structure for the office, scheduling, things like that, working with the courts, and it's all been good. I think that almost all the changes that we've been making and have made have been positive ones, and the staff seems to be on board and thrilled with many of the changes. And I know that the relationship with the courts are real good right now, and enjoy working with both the judges that we have, and it's created, I think, some good momentum, hopefully, for us to keep pressing forward and pressing on.
Okay. You mentioned changes. What are some specific changes that you've made since you've
one of the first things that we changed, and it's not a sexy change in one sense. It's kind of a if you're running a law office and kind of nerdy in that way, you might find this interesting kind of change. But what we did is we went with the idea that we need to have a better idea of what's going to happen throughout the given day. Specifically when it came to appearing individuals who were in custody, in jail, and needed to be appeared on the brand new charge that they'd been arrested on. I worked with the courts, and the courts were very helpful, very gracious, very kind, and we came up with a set time every day that we're going to appear those individuals who are in custody. That had not existed in the past. It kind of been a moving target. It's any time during the day when the judge was available or ready and we had reports, then we'll do it. Well, that created a lot of, who's on first, who's on second type of situations. And working with the courts to say, why don't we have it at 2 o'clock every day? We're doing it by video arraignment now, which is also very helpful. Saves time and money, and it's safer for the community doing it that way. I was able to say, okay, we're going to set a schedule for the whole month. And we're going to know every day that we're open for business who's going to cover this docket, who's going to be in front of this judge, and who, when they get into the office, their first and primary responsibility is to look at the in-custodies, to make a charging decision after getting reports, and then go appear them in front of the court. And I think the staff and the attorneys have really benefited from that, and they enjoy that, knowing that they can. The schedule and the calendar is no longer controlling them. They're controlling their schedule and calendar. They can plan accordingly. And it's a much more efficient and better use of our time. And it's those kinds of things. Any time we can do something like that, that frees us up to do things that are just as, and if not sometimes more important, that require more time and more energy than that. And it's been helpful. And law enforcement's been very helpful with it as well. They've committed to getting reports over to us in a timely fashion every morning. They've been doing that. The courts have been real good about communicating with us as far as which judge it'll be today, and it will be at 2 o'clock. And so everybody's kind of on the same page. We're all communicating together, working together, and that communication and that planning, very, very helpful. So that's one example of some changes that we've made. We're also in the process of overhauling right now how we're doing discovery. We're going to be more thorough in how we manage, process, and track our discovery, and then also how we communicate and give that over to defense counsel. So that's another area where it's going to be better for the attorneys in the long run, and it's going to be more beneficial from an efficiency and effectiveness standpoint on how staff is using its time. And also it's going to be a benefit to defense attorneys so that they can know, all right, I've got this X amount of documents on this date, and here's the documentation that coincides with it. So those are just a few of the changes that we've been making.
And excuse me. And you, that seems to be helping with organization and getting things done in a timely manner.
Yes. It's had a very positive impact on us as an organization, and it's helped keep the attorneys, I think, more on track, all of us, with how we're going to spend, manage, and allocate our time throughout the day.
Okay. So what is something that about your short time in office that you're most proud of?
I think what I'm most proud of in just the short time we've been in office, and that I've been in charge of the office, is our willingness to work through this transition and keep our eye on the ball. There's a lot of changes that have occurred. A whole new personality has been introduced into the office. It was rather unexpected for all of them, and they have they've really kind of gone with the flow. They've been very open-minded. They have been very diligent in staying on task and keeping focused on the work. And the work that we've been doing in the courtroom, I think, is consistently improving. I think our advocacy by our attorneys in court is consistently getting better. And so I'm proud of the growth that I'm seeing in the attorneys when it comes to the decisions they're making on what cases to file, and then how they're ushering the case through the system, and then how they're presenting the case to either the court or the jury. I'm seeing lots of improvement from all three of them as time goes by, and I'm very proud of that, because I know it's important to them, it's important to me, and it's something that we've really been trying to work on as a team together, and we're starting to see the changes and some of the dividends of that hard work and that commitment.
What was maybe the most challenging thing about stepping into this role as county attorney?
The most challenging thing so far has been, at the end of the day, it seems that there's still mountains and mountains of things to do. And trying to keep in mind all the responsibilities and duties that I have to this community, to that office, and coupling that with reminding myself that you can't, they weren't able to turn the Titanic on a dime. You can't build Rome in a day. And that's something that I just have to remind myself of. Have a plan. You've got short-term goals, you've got long-term goals. Stay the course, be patient, and keep demanding from yourself what you're demanding from your staff, which is excellence. But be patient. Take it step by step. Don't get too far ahead of yourself as we try to move forward and do things better.
Was there something about the office that surprised you when you stepped into it? And if so, how have you compensated for that?
I was surprised by the amount of work that it was generating. It's an office that what we're seeing is, although case filing numbers are not all that different than they were over the last few years, as far as cases we aren't filing a lot more cases than we were, or a lot less cases than we were. But the amount of work that's going into each particular case is significant. We're seeing crimes that require a lot more work and a lot more effort on the part of the attorneys, just because criminal defendants aren't stupid. They're getting more sophisticated. Well, in one sense, they're stupid. They're breaking the law. But there's some crimes that occur, and some cases that we have where there's a level of sophistication that maybe wasn't there a few years ago. And that's creating a little bit more work on our end, and that's okay. I was also surprised at the number of folks, and this is a good surprise, I'll put it that way. Not all surprises are bad. I was also surprised in a very good way about the number of people from the community who reached out and said, what can we do to work together? And that was a great surprise. I was thrilled to hear that. And was able to reach out with law enforcement, with CASA. There's other organizations in town where they've been like, hey, let's partner together, let's see what we can do, and that's been a good thing. So,
some people in the community might view the attorney's office, excuse me, let me start over. Some people in the community might view the attorney's office in a negative light. How are you working to combat that and build trust and rapport with the community?
Well, what I would say to that is we're going to do our job to the best of our ability. Some of the decisions we make are not always popular with folks. What I can tell the community is that we're going to do the right thing for the right reason. For those that have negative views, whatever the case may be, whether that has to do with something we're currently doing or things that have happened in the past, If it's things that have happened in the past, what I point out is that I'm here, we're turning a new page. It's a new direction that we're going. There's a commitment that we're making to do some things to combat those negative impressions, those negative feelings. One of the first conversations I had with the attorneys and the staff when I arrived was, I want us to be known in Franklin County as the most professional and responsible law office in the community. And it starts with just the most basic of things. When you walk into court, you stand up when you address the court. You dress appropriately for court. You show up on time. You address the court and the attorneys with the respect that the process requires. And starting just little things like that and building off of that. And my hope is that those that have negative impressions, will give us an opportunity to do the things that we do, let us do them well, and demonstrate that what we do and what the service we try to provide to the community, we take very seriously. I emphasize with the attorneys all the time, we have to make decisions. And there are going to be things that come through our doors we didn't ask for, we didn't want, we didn't plan for, and it's going to require a decision. And what's most important is that when we make those decisions, we make it based on all the ethical considerations we're required to do, that it be based on sound, legal, objective principles, and that it be the right decision for the right reason, and that we be able to articulate to the community, this is the choice we were faced with, this is the decision we made, and this is why we made the decision. And we understand not all decisions are going to be popular. Not all decisions are. That's fine. As long as we can look in the mirror and say, we did the right thing for the right reason. Hopefully that will dispel any negative feelings towards us. And I understand, not everybody's going to be happy with us. That's understandable. For the guy who's sitting in the Kansas Department of Corrections for the next 15 years, he's not happy that he got convicted for a violent crime that he committed, let him be unhappy. As long as I can sit there and say, we tried to do it the right way, the best that we could, then that's okay with me.
Were you aware of some of those negative opinions of that office before you took the office?
I heard some rumblings, and I had, was aware of some of the hard feelings, if you will, that existed, and it's something that I think there was more out there of that than perhaps I thought. I think maybe I underestimated some of those feelings that existed prior to my getting here. And from my standpoint, all I can say is, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm trying to do. And we're going to, hopefully that can be water under the bridge. This is the direction we're going. And, if that's still not enough for folks, well, then so be it.
In your experience, what is the biggest criminal problem in Franklin County, and how is your office working to combat that?
I think that the biggest criminal problem we have in Franklin County, and it's nothing new, it's something we've been dealing with for a long time, and it's meth. It's that nasty drug, methamphetamine. A lot of our cases that we have are drug cases, and a lot of them center around methamphetamine. Where we see a even more damaging aspect to the community is the other cases that come out of the meth addiction. Many of the home invasions, many of the auto burglaries, a tremendous amount of the forgeries that we have in Franklin County can all be tied back to somebody who has a methamphetamine problem. And it's something that we've got to continue to fight head on. We have seen over the last decade a significant decrease in the manufacturing methamphetamine cases, which is a good thing. That's through the efforts of law enforcement and their commitment to really go hard after the meth labs. And also legislation. It's just very hard to get all the different components to make methamphetamine. That's all been good. But as far as the effects and ravages of methamphetamine on just your average, ordinary, everyday citizen, we see a lot of that, and it's unfortunate. And what we see is an uptick in property crimes, financial crimes, child needed care cases, and so it can get very frustrating in court. As I know the court sits there, we sit there, and we all ask ourselves, what can we do to get them out of this vicious cycle? Because there's many folks that they're there in court, and but for their methamphetamine addiction, might not ever see them in a courtroom. And the lack of resources that we have, not just on a local level, but a state level, and just some of the limitations inherently that the criminal justice system has, makes methamphetamine a very challenging problem for us. And it's something that you've got to attack on all sides. You've got to attack the supply, the dealers. You've got to attack the kids and protect them and make sure that you cut off that supply and identify at-risk kids who are more likely to go down that road, go down that path, provide them services, provide them alternatives, make sure they get a good education. And then you've got that whole big middle of folks where it's adults that have made a really unfortunate and terrible choice, and they're hooked. And as a result, they're now committing criminal acts. It's our job to step in. Just because they have an addiction doesn't mean we don't hold them accountable. You have to hold them accountable. Otherwise, you're never going to get any farther in the process. But we've also got to identify some way that the system is no longer just a revolving door of folks that they just can't get out from under it. And if I had an answer to that, I could probably retire forever. So,
how is your office's working relationship with local law enforcement?
I think it's fairly good. It can always get better. One of the things that I attempted to do when I arrived, made it a point to do, was making sure that there's some boundaries, that we all understand whose role is whose, essentially. Our role is to prosecute criminal cases. Now, we have to work in conjunction and in partnership with law enforcement, but law enforcement, they have their job too. And so I've tried to indicate that, look, I'm not going to walk in and tell you how to run your shop. This is your department. What I've tried to do is say, look, these are things that we really need for us to be successful in prosecution, and they've been very receptive to that. And so the communication between law enforcement agencies and our office could always get better. It's pretty good so far, and we're all on the same page in the sense of we all understand why we're here and what it is we're trying to do. What I've tried to do is also just, like I said, maintain some boundaries there between agencies so that we all have an understanding of what each other's role is. Not all the roles are the same. Granted, there are times there's overlap, but they can be quite different at times, and that needs to be acknowledged and worked through, basically.
Since you took office, a few of the area's more high-profile cases have had some less than favorable turnarounds, more specifically the Ralph Corey retrial and the Roger Shaw appeal case.
Sure.
How do you approach those cases not having been part of the original trials?
Well, on Ralph Corey, I was part of the original trial, and that was a case where the first go-around he was convicted as charged, so we had a great result. What we found out a few days later was that, unfortunately, there was some jury misconduct. And the system dealt with it the way that it's supposed to. That information was discovered. We had a hearing. The parties talked about what had happened, and the court followed the law. Next week, we're going to have a new trial. I'm not thrilled about that, but the system has those protections in place for this very reason. And we're fortunate in the interim, from the time of the original conviction till now, this retrial, we've had some additional testing done. So we've got some additional evidence that we're going to be able to present as well. So we feel strongly about our case on Mr. Corey, and it's one of those unfortunate situations where the jurors did not follow the court's instruction. Fortunately, we discovered it, and fortunately, we're going to right that wrong. And Mr. Corey, obviously, he's innocent unless he's proven guilty. But we had a strong case back then. We believe we have a stronger case now, and so we look forward to doing that. On the Shaw case, it is a little tricky. Wasn't part of that trial. Wasn't even here when it all occurred. The particular basis and reason for the Shaw reversal is a doctrine or legal doctrine dealing with alternative means. And what I can say to that is that right now in Kansas, statewide, that is an issue that has everybody kind of flummoxed. And we're all kind of confused over what do we do. I've even heard some Kansas Court of Appeal judges indicate the same thing. I was at a conference last week for prosecutors, and a Kansas Court of Appeal judge addressed us on this very topic and said, it's very confusing right now. There's a lot of things that are in play. And that will happen from time to time in the law. Things will get kind of discombobulated, turned over on its head, and you got to reset yourself. We hope that the Kansas Supreme Court will grant our petition for review. That's no guarantee that we're still going to get the result that we want, but we hope that they do, and it would appear that this is a statewide issue. We're not the only county, we're not the only CA's office that has had a reversal for something like this for this kind of reason. It's unfortunate for us that it's this serious of a case. Anytime there's a death involved, anytime it's a homicide type of case, you want to make sure that when you go in there and you do it, that you do it right, as you do on any case, but you really feel it even more so on those cases. And when something like this happens, where the law has really shifted and changed during that period of time, it's frustrating. And that being said, the Court of Appeals and the Kansas Supreme Court, they are the ones who have the final say. Whatever they decide, we'll honor that and plan accordingly. But those things happen, and you roll with the punches. And I've had over the years, as a prosecutor, had to retry cases that I didn't start out with, that I wasn't a part of, and it's something that you get used to. You're never really happy about it, but it's not something that is so far from left field that you're like, I can't believe this is happening to me. I say to those that say that, like, well, perhaps you haven't practiced long enough. It happens to all of us at some point, and you just deal with it. It's all part of the job.
Okay. Let's move on to a little bit about your competitor. Your competitor is running for office in 3 other counties.
Yeah.
Do you feel one attorney is capable of serving as county attorney for Franklin County and another attorney, or another county?
Absolutely not. Franklin County deserves a county attorney that this is their only job, and there's no other way around it. It's a full-time job. The 3 other jurisdictions that my opponent is running in, Coffee, Osage, and Anderson, they're all one person or one attorney offices. Our office has myself and 3 other assistants. It is impossible to be a county attorney in another office and in this office when you consider the management that goes into managing 3 attorneys and 5 support staff, as well as carrying your own caseload on top of all the administrative duties and all of the obligations and all of the things that you do in the community with community partners and community leaders. There are not enough hours in the day right now for me to do this job, or at least that's the way it feels at the end of the day. It's like, man, if I could just come up with 3 more hours, that would be great. I don't see how it's possible at all that someone could do this job and another county attorney job.
Okay. And how do you feel about your chances of winning the upcoming election?
Well, I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful. I believe that over the last few months I've demonstrated to the citizens of Franklin County that I'm committed to this community, I'm committed to this office, and I'm committed to making it as the best we can possibly be. On the desk in my office, there sits a kind of a rock thing, and it has a quote from Vince Lombardi on it. It says, "The quality of a person's life is in direct proportion to their commitment to excellence." And that is the philosophy and that is the approach that I try to take into the office every day, and especially when working with staff, working with attorneys, working with members in the community. I have a commitment to excellence that will take this office to the next level. And I believe I'm the best person for that job. I believe I'm the most qualified person for that job. I believe I have the most experience that applies to that kind of endeavor. And I think that the voters of Franklin County should know that this job is something that I take very seriously. I've made a career out of being a prosecutor. And it's not because I didn't want to go anyplace else or didn't think I could hack it in civil practice or this or that. This is what I want to do. This is what I've tried to devote my professional career to, which is making our community safer for people. And I enjoy the fact that I get to work with the public. I enjoy the fact that it is public service. That's important to me. And I believe that the citizens of Franklin County, they deserve better. And I think we can give it to them. And I think I'm the right person to do that. And the experiences I've had over the years, I've been in a lot of different offices in a lot of different states. And one thing that I think I've consistently demonstrated is I've been able to walk into tough situations, turn it around, and make it better. It wasn't as if the roof was caving in over the courthouse. Things were not that dire, but there were certainly things that needed to be changed, and there were certainly things that needed to be improved. And I think we're well on our way to doing that. And if I'm fortunate enough to be given the opportunity to serve them over the next 4 years, I think that the citizens won't be disappointed. They will see that things will continue to get better and continue to improve, and will continue to provide services to the community that demonstrate our level of commitment to justice and to helping make this place a safer place to be.
Your competitor is kind of touting his additional years of experience and age. What is your response to that?
Well, his age and his additional years really, I think, are meaningless. The reason being is he's been in pretty much the same place the whole time, and not a lot's changed down there. And he's had some challenges. He's had some very public issues that have created some difficulty for him. It's not been a smooth road that entire time. Not to say that there have been challenges in my own practice, but I have been in an office that is the current one I'm in, a small to medium-sized office. I've also served in a very large office up in Shawnee County. And through all those different experiences, I've handled cases in all kinds of different situations, urban areas, rural areas, major felony homicide cases to low-level traffic infraction kind of cases. Run just about the gamut. And I've been able to do it in a variety of settings. And I've also been able to do it with a variety of different people. The working relationships that I've been able to maintain and be able to form over the years are a tremendous advantage. I'm not unable, when faced with a question or a situation by one of my attorneys, to sit there and say, you know what, I don't know. But having been the places I've been, knowing the people I know, I can almost guarantee you I always know somebody I can call who will know. And that's a tremendous advantage. And so I think that those attributes of my opponent are really non-starters. At the end of the day, the question that I would pose is, has it been the right kind of experience? And has it been the kind of experience that's going to serve you well here? Because there are some unique challenges here that I don't believe my opponent is equipped for. And, it all goes back to, I've been practicing for 17 years. Well, if that may be the case, and I don't know what the number is, I just threw 17 out there. Have you been doing the same thing over and over again for 17 years, so it's really just 1 year of experience repeating itself all over? Or have you gone on and done other things, been put in different situations, faced different kinds of challenges to where, in my case, the years of experience I have, it's been a new and more challenging experience every time. It's constantly being pushed and constantly being challenged in new and different ways, and always rising to that and responding to that. So I don't think that it's a very strong argument on his part.
Well, Mr. Hunting, that's all the questions I have. Thank you for coming in. Again, I'm Crystal Herber with the Herald, here with Stephen Hunting, the Republican candidate for Franklin County Attorney.